All right, everybody. Doug Fowler here, Pulaski Talks. Or no, not Pulaski Talks. Show me Streamcast. Down here in the undeclared capital of Central Missouri, St. Robert. We're sitting here with Regina Utley. One, thank you so much for becoming our new gold sponsor for the show. Keep the lights on a little bit and stuff like that. Want to give you a shout out. Want to also give a shout out to the Prue Law Office down in Waynesville, Missouri. Also, they're also one of our premier gold sponsors, and they keep the lights on and able to pay the internet bills. Quick admin notes before we get started. If you got questions, you can ask them directly in the chat or the text block or the message thing, or you can call us at the number posted on the screen, 573-408-0339, and it'll come across the air, and we can all answer it directly. And before we get further, we owe Regina a little bit of being gold sponsor and all. Scheduling update. Right now we're scheduled on 1 October to be in the Amazing Grace Fellowship in Crocker, Missouri for a meet the office holders of Pulaski County. Still waiting on confirmation as far as specific details, but just keep an eye out for us there in Crocker. 8 October in the St. Robert Community Center, another town hall type event where we meet the elected officials. And more dates to fall before the election comes along on November 5th. So keep it a lookout for us. And if you know a new business or you're a new business in town, you want to get some visibility out there and people get to know you, let us know. Let your friends know. You can come what everything's about and what you're doing. Just give us a holler. Message us on Facebook Live. Email us, whatever your preferred method of contact. And we'll get you in the show, and you can tell everybody all about yourself. Before we get started, any questions out there from the crowd? Another round of applause? Yeah, I think so. Regina Utley, how are you, ma'am?
I am good, thank you.
Pull a little bit closer, otherwise somebody's going.
This one?
That's much better.
Yeah, she's already on there.
So it's been a few weeks since we talked. So what do you think so far? How's the campaign going?
It's going really good. It's fast paced. It's not to nothing. Get off work and hit the streets.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Especially full-time job and campaigning at the same time.
Yes, it does take a lot. People go, "How are you?" First word out of my mouth is, "I'm tired," but I'm still here.
Well, yeah,
it's still going.
Exactly, and just to get the message out, you got to stay on message and stay awake and stay conscious, and then you go back to work the next day.
True story.
That's true story. What most recently was going on? Dixon, you was at Dixon?
Over the weekend. Actually, we were. I was at started off at Hogs and Frogs Saturday morning, left there mid-afternoon, and then spent the evening up at Cow Days in Dixon. Visited with a lot of people, had a lot of good conversations.
Right. And
it was just really nice.
Oh, that's good.
We had good weather. It wasn't too hot. It didn't rain all day.
Well, that's good. It's one less thing to worry about. So what based on their conversations with the voters you've met, at least north of I-44 so far, have you haven't been south yet, have you?
No.
But north of I-44. So what kind of feedback or comments or worries or what kind of things are the voters telling you when you talk to them?
It's the same things. People are wondering what the plan is for the drug interdiction.
Sure.
They're more concerned about that and property crimes. It's just things we have to solve because they go hand in hand.
Sure.
You get burglaries and thefts and this items that are stolen are used to trade for drugs.
Right. Feed the habit.
So if you can keep up with one, you can slow down the other,
right.
And then you just take extra steps to even slow the run of drugs.
Well, just the thought of that, I'm lucky. I live in town, St. Robert, and but for those that live out in the county and are not covered by this beautiful umbrella of city municipality police force, what would you say the number one thing they can do to protect themselves from property crime?
Don't leave your valuables in your cars.
Right.
Because most of especially 'tis the season.
Sure.
It's September. Christmas is coming. Cars being broke into. The numbers are going to increase. Take your guns. Take your wallets. Take your phones. Take your anything of value. Just don't leave it in your car because it's easy access. They just pop a lock, grab what they're looking at, and take off. Don't leave any laptops.
I've seen the videos. They'll break that window. They have no qualms about smashing out a window.
Not a single one.
Yeah, because by the time they're in and out of there, it's long gone.
It is.
And obviously, I thought Grandma Aaliyah Thompson.
That's my granddaughter.
Hey, thank you for tuning in. Pull the mic in. Oh, she told you to pull the mic in. Okay, that's Stevie. Okay.
Yeah, that's my daughter.
Okay, well, keep us straight. Make sure we're on schedule too, please. And no slack. Make sure you get the hard questions. Your mom deserves it.
Don't put them in charge of that.
Since you've been campaigning since the last time we met, any new revelations or whether you still believe they're the most pressing issues identified in Pulaski County by the voters, and share with whatever you can your plan to address those primary concerns.
Well, a lot of the pressing issues is just increasing patrols and increasing the amount of deputies that we have to do these patrols.
Yeah. Is that budget specific to the budget?
That is budget specific. So, we've got these new taxes that are coming in. We don't know how much they are yet, and we don't know where we can utilize them and in what areas. And the number, when you're tax based, the tax changes.
Right.
The amount that you get from the taxes changes. If you get more people.
Oh, sure. Sure.
So,
especially like a consumption tax, the more people that buy stuff, for less people, ebbs and flows.
Correct.
Peaks and valleys.
Correct.
Okay.
So if sales are up, more taxes are paid.
Sure.
We get more tax money. If sales are down, like they are when the inflation is up,
sure.
People don't buy like they would normally do, then the amount of tax money that comes in decreases.
Right.
So you can't really look at a budget and say, well, I've got this much money this year.
Right.
You're not guaranteed to have that much money next year. You can either have more or less.
And if you plan everything based on a forecast of surplus, so to speak, or plenty, the time when the plenty goes away and becomes ebbs and flows, people start losing their jobs if you don't plan accordingly.
Correct.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. That's definitely going to be tough. What have you learned about the community and its needs campaigning engagement strategies? How have you been engaging with the voters to ensure their voices are heard in your campaign, and what methods have you found out to be the most effective in engaging with the voters?
The most effective method is just being honest.
Right.
When you talk to somebody on the phone, it's one type of conversation.
Sure.
But if you're face to face, they can look at you, they can look at your face, they can look at your eyes, they can watch your body language. They know whether you're sincere in what you're telling them. They know if you actually believe it, what you're saying. And they prefer that. They want to see that.
Right.
It's easy for me to come here.
Sure.
This kind of conversation. And it still leaves a question.
Sure.
And that was a couple of the conversations I had over the weekend was, well, I'm glad I stopped and met you and was actually able to talk to you because now I know more about you.
Right.
And it wasn't so much of the conversation that we had, it was the interaction.
And just the personality, not the touching, but the handshake, so to speak.
Correct.
And that's us moving around. Oh, we had a good comment. Stevie Burgess, turn on your lights outside. Absolutely. You probably heard the cameras going off in our house. We have more cameras than I can count. I can't remember how many we got, but even in city limits, we keep the cameras on. They may not, just one little act of deterrent, but you can mitigate it to the best you can, make it difficult as possible. It's kind of like a locked door keeps an honest person honest, and not so much the dishonest person out of the way.
And more people have cameras these
days.
So, there's more people with cameras on their homes, the Ring cameras, the outside cameras. Right. Hopefully, it makes a difference.
Right.
And if you are going to do it and you get caught on camera, it's a pretty good open and shut case.
Right. Yeah, right on camera. It's like a speeding ticket. There's no fighting it, even if you're in a Prius or something. I got movie trivia.
Movie trivia?
You a movie buff?
It depends on the movies.
Was it Horrible Bosses, where you drag racing with the Prius? Jason Bateman.
I've never watched that one.
Okay. What do you believe is the most important responsibilities, or are the most important responsibilities of the sheriff, and how does your background prepare you for these duties?
The most important responsibilities that we have, well, that's kind of a tough one because it depends on how you look at it.
Sure.
People can look at one side and be offended and look at the other. But our most important responsibilities are the people we have in our jail,
right,
and the community.
right.
Those are our responsibilities. That's what we signed up for. You know, those are the people we have to take care of.
I'll link that to your background. You know, I've seen your campaign videos and stuff. I just happened to see those things. And talk about your background and how you can enable those kind of pieces together to become for the betterment of the community.
Well, I've seen both sides.
Right.
Working with the ambulance, on the ambulance, and working law enforcement. And I've seen people on good days, and I've shared bad days with them, to include some of, the individuals that we have in jail.
Sure.
You know, I have certain relationships with, because, things happen.
Right.
Things happen. And, at the end of the day, it all boils down to being respectful.
Right.
You can share in a person's tragedy, and you can applaud them in their accomplishments, and that means more to a person most of the time than anything else. It's just you don't even have to know them,
right?
And they recognize that. They're like, that person doesn't even know me, but they're just as upset or they're just as happy as I am. So that's just a basis for building those relationships.
Sure. Having that, it's kind of like I recognize you, so therefore it opens up a door and opportunity for communication and conversation. You build a link, I guess is what I was trying to say. Here we got Stevie's got a question. Do you have a planned idea that you would like to put in place to extend support to the local PDs in the event of school threats, especially with the most recent influx of social media threats towards various schools around the country? I'm going to add on around the country.
I do. That's been quite a good topic of conversation because there's been a lot of social media activity about this. And I've talked to different agencies about working together, and each agency going into every school in the county and getting familiar with the layout of the schools.
Sure.
Getting familiar with all the law enforcement, because if something like this happens to take place, you're going to get law enforcement coming out in street clothes.
Sure.
So we need to train together. We need to get familiar with each other, and we need to understand the layouts of all of the schools.
Sure.
While we're doing this.
Would you say there's an adversarial relationship between the departments in the county, or do they pretty much work very well together, the municipals and the sheriff's department?
Pretty much work very well together. It's just that kind of training.
Right.
That's where we got to go.
Right.
We got to go.
Well, we're going to break here, see if we can make this commercial thing work. Stand by for a second. Here we go.
Regina Utley, an independent candidate for Pulaski County Sheriff, has nearly 25 years of dedicated service. She has a deep understanding of the community's needs and has built strong relationships. In her current role, she has conducted thorough assessments to identify and implement necessary improvements. Regina has served in various capacities, including reserve deputy, full-time deputy, and corporal, and has personally trained a K-9 for the department. Her leadership experience and familiarity with the Drug Task Force, combined with her business management education, make her a highly qualified candidate for sheriff.
Should be coming back about right now. There we are. Hope she caught you without your headphones on. Thank you so much, Juliana. Well said. I can't echo that stronger either. Well said. Community relations. You heard me say before, and I said it to the commissioners that were in here, and one of the biggest challenge I have with the county is that the strategic communication seems to be lacking. It's different message, different office, different Facebook page. How do you plan to foster trust and collaboration between the sheriff's department, the sheriff's office, and the community?
That's all gonna. At the end of the day, it's about honesty. It's just, if you can't do something that they need you to do, tell them you can't do that. Tell them to say. I don't even have a good example on the top of my head right now, but just be honest.
Sure.
Whether you can do it or you can't do it, but don't tell them you're going to do it and don't.
Right. Feedback. Close the loop. That's how I consider it communication. Stevie will get your question just in a second. Thank you so much. public safety initiatives. Now, you've been running for you've been campaigning since the end of the primary season. Do you plan to introduce or enhance any specific public safety initiatives in Pulaski County?
Well, what I'd like to see is more neighborhood watches.
Sure.
You know, we're talking about property crimes.
Right.
And, you know, vehicle break-ins during Christmas time.
Right.
So I would like to see more communities, get involved with their own neighborhood watches.
Sure. Yes, it doesn't matter whether you're inside the city or not, because at least growing up, you knew by driving by a farmer's land or his house, if something was out of sorts. You know, the truck's not. You got to know your neighbor, and you were looking at your neighbor. You didn't even know you were looking out for your neighbor, but you were. And when something seemed to be amiss, you could do something or say something.
Yes.
That's great. That's great.
Excuse me.
Handling criticism. Now, it's going to be the bulwark for the county. Everything you do will be terrible, bad. Pull the mic around, Mom. She wants it close to your face. Just spin it. There you go.
This one? Is that better?
Yeah, I think so. I can hear you better. I got it turned up about as loud as I can get.
I think I should.
Oh, yeah, you're good. That's good. You're still on camera. Handling criticism. How do you handle criticism or opposition to your campaign, and what have you learned from those experiences so far?
Well, you've got constructive criticism,
Sure.
or you got people just being mean.
Right.
So I will take constructive criticism all day, every day.
Right.
Just being mean.
Yeah.
Let's change the tone of the conversation so we both can get something out of it at the end of the day.
It's almost you want it to be actionable. If you don't, it's not necessarily if you don't have nothing nice to say, but if you have something to really mean something, if you're just talking to me just to be mean, there's no point in it. You're wasting air.
Or if you're going to have a conversation, at least be a sponge.
Sure.
Don't be a brick. You know,
Sure.
Don't let whatever I'm saying bounce off.
Yeah.
Let's just have a conversation where we have an understanding, whether we agree to disagree,
Right.
or we come to a solution and a conclusion.
Right.
But if you're just going to keep coming at about the thing and nothing anybody says is going to change your thought process,
Sure.
you're just not open for a conversation.
I can't say that, echo that even stronger, because one of the things I learned, I get online and I like to pick. It's just the nature of my family. I like to pick it, and what I've learned over the years, whether it be in different environments, is that if somebody comes to have a conversation with you, you know right away whether they're even susceptible to the idea that they may be wrong. And if they're not open to the idea that they could be wrong, or you have a different opinion that they might agree with, there's no point.
Right.
There's no point. Vision for the future. If elected, what is your long-term vision for the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office, and how do you plan to achieve it as best as you can explain it? I know it's a big picture stuff.
It's a big picture. And you talk about these big pictures, and people want it done in a month, and you can't get that far that quick. But the big picture is to locate more grants,
right?
To bring more money, to offer more resources and services to those of the county. And there's grants out there. You got to know where to find them, and two, you got to file for the applications. There's money there,
right?
You just got to go look for them. So the more grants and the more reasons behind the grants means the more you can do. You have the money or the equipment, whatever it is that you're getting, whether it's money, equipment, or training or whatever. It's there.
Right.
You just have to take the time to fill out the paperwork and submit the paperwork to be approved for them.
Sure. That's great. Now, my military mindset and the way I, grew up military, we're thinking 30 or short, mid, and long-term plan. Have you got one put together yet?
A short, mid, and long-term. Yeah. I do not have a complete long-term plan. The short plan is to get all the kinks that I've already been working on straightened out, so we can get to the mid part of it.
Sure.
And the mid part of it is working on getting extra grant money and extra resources to at least try to get more deputies. But again, and I'm not making excuses for anything, but law enforcement shortage is a nationwide problem.
Right.
It's nationwide. We're actually experiencing it to a certain level within the county, and it's a nationwide thing. So you have to, and you don't even have to offer a lot of money, but your incentives and your motivation and the morale and the desire to be where you are
Sure.
will keep you.
Well, absolutely. You want to be a place where you're valued. You feel like you're making a difference. You're contributing to the overall mission of the organization, and you know what the mission of the organization is. I've been in organizations where you just butt in the seat. Nobody's talking to you, but you want to be part of an organization that you feel like you're engaged and you're a part of what they're working towards.
Exactly. And if you have that, and I've noticed the big change and I'm not dogging anybody.
Sure.
But the camaraderie from 20 years ago to today, I would like to build that back.
Right.
Between the deputies and the officers. And I know there are some that have those kind of relationships with others.
Sure.
But I want to build it bigger.
Right.
I want to make it better.
Right.
You know, I just see it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, we're going to open up the phone lines, 573-408-0339. While we're waiting on the phone, do you have a plan to have, I'm assuming, officers in street clothes when touring the school, or maybe an after-school thing just to increase comfortability with the students?
I do not have a plan. We haven't gotten that far right now. It's just in the conversation of everybody's agreeing that it's something that we need to do.
Right.
Not just talk about and think about. However, with that being said, if there is an event and we are calling people out, you are going to get officers in street clothes.
Sure.
But that falls back to why we need to know everybody.
Right.
You know, because as a deputy, we get to work with St. Robert and Waynesville and Crocker and Dixon and Richland. So we do know them.
Sure.
But Richland doesn't always get to work with St. Robert.
Right.
And Waynesville doesn't get to work with Dixon. Right. So they may not know each other.
Right.
And we need to make everybody familiar with everybody else. And, you know, when you get that familiarity, you can work and you can go through a stressful situation and you never have to speak. All you have to do is read each other's body language or it's a look or whatever, but you know what they're going to do next.
I during the primaries, I got to talk with a lot of people that were not being elected, but just getting a sense of the candidates and what they thought. And it was amazing at kind of the communication process I had with these individuals followed that kind of segues into what you're talking about, you know, that they knew each other way back when we used to work together on this office. It's kind of like the military in the sorts. Hey, I used to work, say, for instance, if you worked in St. Robert, I used to work with her. She's a great person, Regina. We're going to work together with her. She's great people. And that person they're talking to is, hey, you have an end. You have a relationship that's forming right away. So I definitely understand that. Bring back the cookouts. Were they good?
Oh yeah, we had good cookouts.
Oh, that's good. I can't cook. I can boil water and get a bowl of cereal just to the great temperature of cold. Well, assuming there's no questions right now, we're going to pull one more ad and close it up for the day. They got anything else you want to let everybody know? Of course, you are welcome back anytime. You just let me know.
Well, there was something that I did want to kind of touch on with a different interview that you had that referred to the dispatching.
Right.
And
is it the consolidation, or is it the? Well, I remember
I don't know if they mentioned the consolidation, but it was brought up that 911. Why doesn't 911 dispatch for everybody? Right. And here's the thing, and it doesn't. There's no delay in the way things are dispatched right now. 911 is a 911. It is an emergency dispatching center.
Right.
And you know, even though they do take some of the calls from the sheriff's department that come in on 911, there is no delay in our response because Comm Center will contact us over the radio, the same as they do fire and EMS, give us the information. We're already responding as the deputies while our dispatcher is pulling the information and noting it in the CAD. So there's no delay in dispatch with the way things are being done now.
I say, how many people do we have working dispatch and sheriff right now?
We have one dispatcher per shift.
Okay.
If we plan, Comm Center I think has at least 3 on shift.
Comm Center, that's 911.
That's 911.
So we have at least 4 on shift between the sheriff's department and the Comm Center.
And Waynesville has a dispatcher. St. Robert has a dispatcher. So, but I just wanted people to understand there's no delay in their 911 calls when we're being dispatched. It's the same as a 911 call, and comm center dispatches the ambulance.
Right.
Gets sent out over the radio. The same with fire, and it's the same with us.
Sure.
When same with St. Robert, same with Waynesville.
Okay.
There's no delay in the dispatching or the response.
Well, that's very good to know. So it just hit me again talking about the Emergency Operations Center, or the what's the department? What's it called? Emergency Operations, Emergency Management.
OEM, Office of Emergency Management.
Yeah, and they have the new communication system.
Yes, they do.
And I don't know if I brought it up last time, but do you know if it's been a consideration for where other offices inside the county government were able to utilize that system for non-type emergency communication?
I know Hector and I got into a brief conversation about it. I haven't sat down with him and had an in-depth conversation, but from what we discussed, it sounds like something that we could all benefit from.
Well, and I brought it up to the commissioners too. You know, if we got road outage, bridge construction, stuff like that going on, why not use this new tool? If it doesn't cost, if there's not an additional cost, or there's some way to make it paid, departments pay for their own stuff. But it sure seems like a wasted opportunity for not at least looking towards that way.
Yeah, I think it would be a good benefit, especially if our radios and stuff go down and something's going on. We can at least keep up with it.
Exactly, because I really like it. We get that beep. I get it one from Post or from the OEM, and it just seems like to me common sense. Next step is to use this tool, this capability across the government within our, if it doesn't cost anything more.
Right.
Juliana Billington. Now those donuts you speak of, do they come with sprinkles? I'm going to wait for an answer. You're on the hold. I want to know if sprinkles or not. And I'm kind of fond of apple fritters right now. I've been on an apple fritter kick. I don't know why.
Oh, is she asking me if they come with?
I know. I'm going to ask. She said coffee and donuts with other departments. Of course, sprinkles. Very good. Thank you so much. You must have sprinkles, because who are sprinkles for, Juliana? Do you know who they're for? No, you can keep the jelly filled.
I like the lemon filled.
Oh, God. Interview's concluded. Who are sprinkles for, Juliana? I'm going to wait for an answer. Who are they for?
Winners, she said.
That's right, winners. We're going to wrap this up today, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. We thank Regina Utley here. And once again, you are welcome at any time you want to come down and update us, update the crowd, and then bring a crowd if you want. Bring some other players. You want to talk politics, sheriffs. Bring some of the police officers from the county. We can talk offline.
That's not a bad idea.
Just to talk about the issues going on. We can have a conversation.
Yeah, I like that.
So you rally them up. We'll bring the speakers.
All right.
And the sprinkles with donuts.
And lemon filled.
With that, I'm going to give Mark Prue a shout out real quick. So hang on now if I can get this.
Are you in need of legal assistance? Look no further than the Prue Law Office. Our experienced attorneys specialize in family law, criminal defense, and personal injury cases. We are dedicated to providing personalized and compassionate representation to our clients. Located on the square in Waynesville, just across the street from the courthouse, call us today at 573-774-6444 or by email at pruelaw@aol.com for a free consultation. Prue Law Office, your trusted legal partner in Waynesville.
All right, everybody. Doug Fowler here once again at Show Me Streamcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And once again, Regina, thank you so much. Bring a crowd. I got room for 11 online and 4 microphones, so we can fill this room up and have a great conversation. And with that, we're going to close the show. And until next time, 1 October is our next scheduled event. You're supposed to be getting Voters Mom. Nobody likes lemon-filled donuts. Exactly. Lemon, yeah. It's like lemon cake. Anything lemon, no.
Lemon meringue's my favorite.
Oh.
Chocolate cake with lemon icing, I like it too.
I like vanilla pudding, the LeClaire's, the Boston creams and stuff. Eclairs, and I like the white cream, whatever that's called, that goes on the inside of the donut.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's never a donut that passes me by. So with that.